Welcome to our journey through Biblical Greek. Today we're looking at chapter 7 as we look at personal pronouns. Before we look at personal pronouns, let's look at what we've covered so far from chapter 1 to chapter 6. So far we've looked at the alphabet and we've looked at accents, we've looked at syllables, and we've looked at how to syllabify words. We've looked at what syllabification means, and that was part of chapter 1 and 2. We looked at Greek verbs and we said verbs are words that show action. And then we looked at Greek nouns and we said nouns are words that name a place, a thing, or a person. Under nouns, we looked at the first and second declension paradigm and we said that nouns, majority of the nouns, are built using the first and second declension paradigm. And we stressed the importance of knowing that paradigm because without the paradigm, we cannot tell nouns from verbs. And so it's important that you know the first and second declension paradigm. Then we looked at prepositions and we said prepositions are words that show relationship between two words. And we said prepositions have three functions and we went to explore the three functions. Then we looked at adjectives and we said adjectives are words that modify nouns. And we looked at the three functions of adjectives. Adjectives can be attributive, they can be predicative, or they can be substantive. And we looked at what these three functions mean. It's very important so far that you go through all these things that we have looked at from chapter 1 to chapter 6 and you get conversant with them. Because from now onwards, this information will be required to knowing what is lying ahead. And so just a review of the paradigm. This is the first and second declension paradigm. And we said that this is how nouns are built using the first and second declension. And this paradigm is very important as we look at Greek pronouns in this chapter. Because some of the pronouns are built using the first and second declension paradigm, which is this paradigm. So it's very important that you, again, master the paradigm. And we said on the paradigm, there are three genders. You have masculine case endings, you have neuter case endings, and you have feminine case endings. And each word according to its gender is declined according to the gender. So what is important is to master this paradigm, because without it, you can't tell nouns, and without it, you can't tell pronouns. So let's look at chapter 7. Let's look at personal pronouns. So what is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that stands in place of a noun. For example, instead of saying, Paul saw Paul's friend, and Paul greeted Paul's friend, you can see there's that repetition of Paul. Pronouns can help us avoid that repetition by saying, Paul saw his friend, and he greeted him. So instead of saying, Paul saw Paul's friend, and Paul greeted Paul's friend, we can use pronouns and say, Paul saw his friend, and he greeted him. So pronouns are words that stand or replace nouns in a sentence. And this is meant to avoid repetition. So in this chapter, I want to look at how you can say him, they, you, I, me, mine, yours, in Greek. In short, how can you present pronouns in Greek? Now, before we look at the paradigm for pronouns, let's look at the types of pronouns that we have. The first ones are what we call personal pronouns, and these are the ones that we are going to look at in this chapter as well as in Greek 1. The rest of the other pronouns are looked at in Greek 2. So we have personal pronouns, and personal pronouns are pronouns that show the speaker or the listener or the one being spoken about. For example, these are pronouns like I, me, you, he, she, it, they. These are pronouns that show the speaker. You have the example there. She rode the train. She there is a personal pronoun. And then we have demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns are pronouns like this, that, where you say do this or do that. Those are demonstrative pronouns. For example, this bike belongs to that student. This and that in that sentence are demonstrative pronouns. The third type, we have relative pronouns. Words like who or which, those are relative pronouns. For example, it is a great person who attempts to master Greek. Who in that sentence is a relative pronoun. We also have interrogative pronouns. As I said in Greek 1, we're only going to look at personal pronouns. Before we look at the paradigm for Greek and its personal pronouns, let's look at the English personal pronoun paradigm. These are things that we have mastered, and so it's very important to see the difference between the English and the Greek or see the similarities between the two. Again, personal pronouns are words that show the speaker in the sentence, or the listener in the sentence, or the one being spoken about. Now, there are three types of personal pronouns. For example, words like I, my, me, we, our, us. Those are first person pronouns. They show the speaker in the sentence. And then we have pronouns that show the listener in the sentence. Those are called second person pronoun. Words like you, your, yours, all these are second person pronouns because they show the speaker in the sentence. For example, I gave the pen to you. You in that sentence shows the second person, the one being spoken to, the listener. And then we have the third type, and these are words that show the one being spoken about. And these are called third person. For example, I gave the pen to him. Him in that sentence is a third person pronoun. It shows the person being spoken about in the sentence. So we have first person, second person, and third person. So let's look at the Greek paradigm. First of all, we'll look at the first person pronoun. Now pronouns, just as English pronouns, have two things. First of all, they have number. They can be singular or they can be plural. Secondly, personal pronouns have case. They can be nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative. So when you're mastering the personal pronoun paradigm, you have to know two things. The number can be plural or singular, and the case. It can be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. So let's look at the first personal pronoun, I. Remember, there's that rough breathing mark that is causing H sound. It's not emes, it's hemes. So the plural you have hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas. We, our, to us, us. So this is the first person. And this is how you say words like I, my, to me, we, ours, us in the Greek. So it's very important that you master the first personal pronoun. Let's look at the second personal pronoun paradigm from the word you. How to say words like you, yours, to you in the Greek. So again, you have number, it can be singular or plural. And then you have case, it can be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. So in the singular, you have su, which means you. In the plural, you have humes, which means you. In the singular, you have su, which means your. In the plural, you have humon, which means your. As you know, in the English, your can be singular, it can be plural, depending on the context. So you have su, which means your in singular. In the plural, you have humon, which means your. In the dative singular, you have soi, which means to you. In the plural, you have humin, which means to you. In the accusative, you have se, which means you. In the plural, you have humas, which means you. So this is the second personal pronoun paradigm. So you need to know the pronoun and what it means. The pronoun and what it means. So let me just show you hints on how you can master the two paradigms, the first person and the second personal pronoun. You have the first personal pronoun in the singular and the plural, and you have the second personal pronoun in the singular and in the plural. These are singular pronouns and these are plural pronouns. When you look at the singular pronouns in the genitive and in the dative, you can see there are similarities there. In the genitive, you have mu and then you have su. You have omicron upsilon and omicron upsilon there. So there are similarities there. And when you look at the dative, you have moi and you have soi. Those are also similarities there. When you look at the accusative, you have me and you have se. So this gives you easier ways of mastering the paradigm. You have mu, you have su, you have moi, you have soi, you have me, you have se. So that is easier for you to master. And when you look at the plural, there are also similarities there. In fact, the plural is more similar. Because for the first person, you have hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas. For the second person, you have humes, humon, humin, humas. You can see that the difference between the first and second personal pronoun in the plural is that the first person uses eta and the second person uses upsilon. So to get the second person, change the eta into upsilon. You can see there is hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas, and in the second personal pronoun, you have humes, humon, humin, humas. So the difference between the first and second personal pronoun in the plural is that the first person uses eta and the second person uses upsilon. So you can see that it's very easy for you to know the paradigm when you see the two side by side, it's very easy for you to see similarities that will allow you to master the two paradigms easily. So far, I've looked at the first personal pronoun paradigm and the second personal pronoun paradigm. Let's look at an example of a sentence and how to identify the pronouns. You have this sentence here, Kai epen ho Jesus, and you have that period above the line, and we said, in terms of punctuations, a period, when you see that period above the line, it represents semicolon in Greek. So that period above the line shows a semicolon in the Greek. So you have Kai epen ho Jesus, tauto mu estin, to soma, to hupa humon. And the translation is, and Jesus said, the word said there is epen. Epen is a verb, and we're going to look at the verbs later on. But the translation is, and Jesus said, Jesus meaning Jesus, Kai is and, so you have, and Jesus said, this is my body that is for you. This is a demonstrative pronoun. This is my body which is for you. The word my there is mu. When you follow it on the paradigm, is a genitive first person singular pronoun. It's in the first person, and it's in the genitive, and it's in the singular. And the meaning is my. And you have two pronouns in the sentence. You have mu, which is the first one, and the second one is humon. And the pronoun humon, it's in the genitive, it's the second personal pronoun, and it's in the plural. Not the singular, but it's in the plural on the paradigm when you follow it. And it means yours or your. And so why is it important that you know the paradigm? It's very important because when you look at a sentence like this one, if you have not mastered the paradigm, you can't tell that mu is a genitive first person or singular, and you can't tell that humon is a genitive second person or plural. So all these informations will allow you to translate the pronouns or words that you find in the sentence. So it's very important that you know the pronouns and you know their paradigm and what they mean so that you know how to translate words. So let's look at the third person pronoun. So far I've looked at the first person pronoun and the second person pronoun, and now we're looking at the third person pronoun. An important thing to know is that the third person pronoun follows the noun paradigm. And the third person pronoun is built from autos, meaning he. Now the third person pronoun has three genders. It can be masculine, neuter, or feminine. So in short, there's a paradigm for masculine, there's a paradigm for neuter, there's a paradigm for feminine. But the most important thing to know is that it follows the noun paradigm. So it's built on the paradigm that you have already mastered. And that is the first and second declension paradigm. So if you mastered that paradigm, you can tell that the endings are the same. For example, in the masculine, in nominative you have autos. That omicron sigma is coming from the noun paradigm. In the genitive you have utu. That omicron upsilon is from the noun paradigm. In the dative you have auto. That omega is from the noun paradigm. In the accusative you have uton. That omicron nu is coming from the noun paradigm. So these endings that you are seeing on the third person pronouns are endings that are coming from the noun paradigm, the first and second declension paradigm. So these are masculine endings, case endings from the noun paradigm. So let's look at the third person pronoun in the masculine. You have autos, meaning he. You have utu, meaning his. You have auto, meaning to him. You have auton, meaning him. Remember, nominative shows subject in the sentence. Genitive shows possession. That's why it's his. In the dative, you have auto. Dative shows an indirect object. And we say the dative key is the word to. So you have auto, meaning to him. You have auton, meaning him. In the plural, you have autoi. And you can see that these are plural endings that are coming from the noun paradigm. And so if you have mastered the noun paradigm, you can see the similarities there. You have autoi, meaning they. You have auton, meaning their. You have autois, meaning to them. You have autus, meaning them. So you have singular endings and you have plural endings in the masculine. So this is the third person pronoun in the masculine. You have autos, autu, auto, auton, autoi, auton, autois, autus. These are singular pronouns and these are plural pronouns. So this is the noun paradigm from which the third person pronouns are built. You can see there are three genders there. There's a masculine, and we have looked at masculine personal pronouns, and you can tell that these endings are the same ones that are being used on the personal pronouns. And we're going to look at the neuter, and you will tell that these will be the same endings that will be attached on the personal pronouns in the neuter. And these are feminine case endings, and these are the ones that will be used as we look at the feminine personal pronouns. So it's very important that you know this paradigm, because this paradigm is a building block to the nouns as well as the pronouns. So let's look at the neuter endings. In the neuter, you have the word auto, meaning it. Remember, in the masculine, we're using the word autos, meaning him. In the neuter, we're using the word auto, meaning it. So in the nominative, you have auto, meaning it. In the genitive, you have auto, meaning its. In the dative, you have auto, meaning to eat. In the accusative, you have auto, meaning it. In the plural, nominative, you have auta, meaning they. Genitive plural, you have auton, meaning their. Dative plural, you have autois, meaning to them. Accusative plural, you have auta, meaning them. So this is how you say the word it in Greek. It can appear in the singular or it can appear in the plural. And you can tell that these are the same case endings that are used coming from the noun paradigm that we have seen. So if you know the noun paradigm, it will help you to know the third person pronoun. Let's look at the feminine paradigm. Feminine paradigm uses aute, aute meaning she. So the third personal pronoun in the feminine is built from the word aute, meaning she. So masculine, you have autos, meaning him. Neuter, you have auto, meaning it. Feminine, you have aute, meaning she. And this is a paradigm for aute in the feminine. In the nominative singular, you have aute, meaning she. In the genitive, you have autes, meaning her. In the dative, you have aute, meaning to her. In the accusative, you have auten, meaning her. In the nominative plural, you have autai, meaning they. In the genitive plural, you have auton, meaning their. In the dative plural, you have autais, meaning to them. In the accusative plural, you have autas, meaning them. So you have singular and you have plural paradigm. She is singular. They, if there are a lot of girls, you can say they, meaning plural. But the Greek is aute, meaning she, singular. Autai, meaning they, plural. So again, these endings that you have there are endings that are coming from the noun paradigm. So if you have known the noun paradigm, it's very easy for you to know the third person pronoun paradigm. So it's very important for you to know this paradigm, because this is where the nouns are built from, and this is where the third personal pronouns are built from. So let's look at how you pass pronouns. Now remember, passing, when you pass a noun or a verb or a word, you're giving more information about that word. You're telling us whether it's a noun or a verb. You're telling us the case, the number, the gender of that word. For example, let's look at the pronoun mu. Now the pronoun mu, when you're passing it, you start with the case, then you mention the number, then you mention the person. So this is how you pass the word mu. The word mu is a genitive singular second person pronoun coming from the word ego. So its lexical form is the word ego. Since it's in the genitive, and since it's singular, and since it's second person, the word mu means my. Remember, genitive shows possession, so the word mu means my. So when you're passing pronouns, you start with the case, the number, and the person. This marks the end of chapter 7, where we're looking at the pronouns. Before we close, as usual, let's look at chapter 7 vocabulary. The importance of the vocabulary is that it helps you know the meaning of words in a sentence. These words that you find at the end of each chapter are very important to helping you know Greek. So master them and know what they mean. So let's look at the first one. We have autos. Autos means he, but when you change the endings and you put eta, it becomes aute in the feminine, and aute means she. Again, when you change the case ending and attach omicron, it becomes auto, and auto is in the neuter meaning it. So you have autos meaning he, aute meaning she, auto meaning it. So these are pronouns. Then you have the word ge. Ge means land. Ge means land. And then you have the word ego. Ego means I. In the plural, it becomes hemes. Remember we talked about pronouns? The singular is ego, the plural is hemes. Ego means I, hemes means we. So you have ego meaning I, hemes means we. And this is where we get the word ego, the English word ego. And then you have the word hemera. Hemera means day. Hemera means day. Then you have the word hoti. Hoti. Hoti means that or it means so that. Hoti means that or it means so that. Then you have the word un. Un means so or it can mean then or therefore. Un means so or it can mean then or therefore. Then you have the word oklos. Oklos. Oklos means crowd. Oklos means crowd. The next word is doulos. Doulos means slave. Doulos means slave. Next word is eurisko. Eurisko means I find. The next word is Aaron. Aaron. Aaron means temple. Next word is Laos, and Laos means people or a crowd. Next word is nomos, and nomos means law. And this is what the word Deuteronomy comes from. Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy comes from two words. Dio meaning two or second, and nomos, nomos meaning law. And so the word Deuteronomy means the second law given to the next generation before the entering of the promised land. That was the second law. Next word is oikos. Oikos. And oikos means house. Means house. This is where we get the word economy from. Economy means house management. Then you have the word para. Para. And this is where you get the word parable. Para means beside. Then you have the word su, which means you. Su means you. Su means you. In the plural, you have the word humes. Humes means you in the plural. So you have su meaning you in the singular, and then you have the word humes meaning you in the plural. Then you have the word hupo. Hupo means under or below. Hupo means under or below. So these are words that you need to master and know. Please take time to master them and to know their meaning, because without knowledge of the vocabulary, you cannot translate words in a sentence. This marks the end of chapter 7. Practice, 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 and God bless.